Hey guys, it's me. I'm coming at you with a review video. This is not going to be a movie review video. I've done some wrestling review videos before when it comes to certain shows. This one is no different. I am reviewing going to be reviewing NXT Revenge. Apparently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Robert Stone, the general manager at the moment of NXT, announced that starting this past Tuesday and then going into this upcoming Tuesday, we would have a 2 week special that's new. It's a new concept called NXT Revenge. A lot of the matches we were going to see on these episodes, on these 2 weeks, were going to be basically like rematches from previous NXT shows. Obviously, this week was we start out now. Obviously, we start out with a NXT Revenge sort of video package, sort of chronicalizing all of the matches that we have lined up for tonight, the main ones, and obviously the significance of these matches. Opening up the show, we got Jada Parker versus Kalani Jordan, the first of the so-called NXT Revenge. And this match definitely fits into the NXT Revenge vibe they were going for because this was a rematch from NXT Roadblock when they were in Madison Square Garden, the theater at Madison Square Garden, which I guess smaller venue that's adjacent to the actual Madison Square Garden. Obviously, I think it was Jada Parker was the winner of that match. Then post match, apparently we and then later on in the show we saw Kalani attack Jada backstage. So that's what led to this rematch happening at NXT Revenge. It was a good match, pretty good. Lasted about 11 minutes, nothing too fancy and special. Obviously, I figured since Jada had gotten the win in New York, that Kalani might get the win here. And that's exactly what happened. Kalani Jordan got the win via the one of a kind split egg and moonsault. And congratulations to her. After this, we went backstage with Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. Obviously, things are a little bit rocky for the supposed friends. It's pretty obvious. Both of them want to become two-time NXT champions, but they also want to claim that they're still friends and that they still have each other's backs. Like, dude, both of you want the same thing. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where one burnt guy is gonna say, you know what, fuck you, I'm going after the NXT championship. And if you want it, and if you want to go shot at it, tough luck, tough noogies. Ethan Page, obviously, he had a match tonight against Tony D'Angelo for the new NXT champion, and Ethan Page promised that if he won the title, Ricky Saints would get the first crack at it. So, and obviously Ethan Page asked Ricky if he could be out there at ringside for his match, maybe help him win. In comes Shiloh Hill, apparently who apparently was working on something backstage. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but we would find out what it was later on in the show. We then get a Tony D'Angelo video package, talking about basically he talked about his opponent for tonight, Ethan Page, what happened the previous week, last week, in that 8-man tag team match between him, Ethan Page, Ricky Saints, and Joe Hendry versus Dark States. Tony D hit I think one of his finishers, which is basically just a choke slam, dead to rights, but Ethan Page got the win anyways. He got the win anyways. He made the blind tag and just took the glory for himself, basically, like he usually would, like he would. Obviously Tony D'Angelo stood tall in the end, anyways. So that's basically how this match came about. He asked Robert Stone for this match, and he granted it. After this, we go backstage. We again go backstage with Lola Vice, who was getting ready for her match Jada against JC Jane. This is basically a rematch from No Mercy from No Mercy last year in September, but also sort of a rematch from Stand and Deliver, where JC Jane was the champion and went into a triple threat match at Stand and Deliver, only to lose the title to J. Lola Vice. Obviously, she was getting ready for a match backstage, but then she was greeted by none other than the Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer, who wished her luck. And that's all that happened. Nice little segments. Nice to see little Stephanie on NXT television. We then get Tony D'Angelo versus Ethan Page for the NXT Championship. Match lasted about 14 minutes, 30 seconds. Now, Ricky Saints did come out there at one point, and obviously I figured, you know what, he's probably going to be out there to help Ethan Page if he can. Maybe help him cheat to win the title. But unfortunately, he was not able to do so because almost immediately, as soon as he came out there, someone apparently had decided, apparently, someone under the ring hog-tied his legs together and with ropes and just decided to drag his ass to the backstage, back to backstage. And apparently, it was Shiloh Hill who obviously had who obviously had interrupted their Ethan and Ricky Saints discussion earlier on in the show backstage. So I'm guessing he had overheard Ethan Page asking Ricky Saints to be out there, to be in his corner. And so Jado was like, you know what, I'm just going to make sure that Tony D has a fair fight tonight. I'm guessing that's why he did it, was to make sure that Tony D'Angelo got a fair fight. And that is what happened. We got a fair fight, except one moment where Ethan Page tried to use the championship in the match. Actually, did wind up Tony D'Angelo did wind up getting hit with the title, but not because of Ethan Page. It was an accident, but in the end, Tony D was still able to retain the title. Good for him. I totally expected Tony D to retain here. It was a great match, really good match, but I expected Tony to win. We then get a video package, video promo for Sol Ruka, who will take on Zarya next week, next Tuesday, NXT Revenge Night 2, in a last woman standing match. This should be a great match. This is also a rematch from Stand and Deliver, where Sol Ruka beat Zarya, but interestingly enough, she had to use 3 Soul Snatchers to do it. It took 3 Soul Snatchers to finish off Zarya. That was great. That was good. And this was great stuff. Not anything new as far as what we have or haven't seen or heard from these two from Sol Ruka, but it was still pretty great promo. Still great promo. Then we get Miles Bourne in the ring. He is not happy necessarily as far as stand deliver goes. He beat Johnny Gargano, but it was what happened after the match that he wasn't happy about. Obviously, he wasn't happy with Dion Lennox of Dark State apparently deciding to crash his celebration and attacked him. Now, obviously, we eventually got all of Dark State coming out. But then Miles Bourne decided, obviously, he started talking to Dion. Obviously, maybe Dion wants a shot at his title. But then when Saquon Sugars thought But then he also gave Dion Lennox an ultimatum. It's like either you can come in, either you and the rest of your Dark State guys can come in here and do what you normally do, and that is beat me up 4-on-1, or you can get a title opportunity later down the line against me. So what's it gonna be? You're either gonna attack me and you don't get a title shot, or you don't attack me and you do get a title shot, eventual title shot. Dion obviously wanted the title shot, but Saquon Sugars was like, wait, whoa, what are you doing? No, that's not how Dark State operates. Okay, we go in there and we attack. And that's exactly what he tried to do, but Miles was ready for him and sent him out of the ring. Yeah, Dark State is definitely looking like it's on life support right now. We then get Blake Monroe backstage with the Vanity Project. Vanity Project with Robert Stone. Obviously Tatum, obviously Blake Monroe is very happy about the fact that she pinned Tatum Paxley the previous week in the mixed tag team match that she and Jackson Drake had against Tatum Paxley and Shiloh Hill. Obviously, she wants another shot at the NXT Women's North American Championship, another rematch from Stand and Deliver. And yes, Robert Stone has granted Blake Monroe the title opportunity, and even Tatum Paxley has made it clear that since Blake did technically pin her, she's also willing to give her another shot at the title. But Robert Stone also made it clear that Tatum had asked for a stipulation, and that she could make the stipulation be any stipulation she wants. And so Blake was more than willing to accept that offer. Again, I didn't know. Now I didn't know what the stipulation was going to be, but later in the night we would find out. And it will also coincide with what Shiloh Hill was apparently making the entire night, because we got a segment after the Ethan Page, obviously after this, where Heath Saints decided to confront Shiloh Hill after what had happened during the Ethan Page match. But he was obviously working on something, using his tools to work on something. Again, I didn't know, but we would find out later. Then we get a Joe Hendry. We go and get a Joe Hendry concert. Obviously, he's not exactly happy about losing the NXT Championship. And this was great. I like these segments. I like these Joe Hendry concerts. I've been watching them in TNA when I started really watching TNA as of late. Although I don't watch it as much as I would WWE. But still, I like these Joe Hendry concerts that we've gotten in NXT. And then apparently, and I didn't know this was going to happen, but we had Keanu Carver interrupt and just destroy Joe Hendry. I mean, Keanu Carver took a guitar shot to the back, and it didn't even faze him at all. Like, bro, what? We then, yeah. After this, we got Dark State backstage. Saquon Sugars is not happy. He's not happy because Dion Lennox, in the moment, in that segment with I Was Born, decided to think of himself and not think about the team. I mean, Dion is trying to plead his case that in order for Dark State to get back on top, they need the North American Championship. They have to have the North American Championship. It's championship. Like, I don't know, you guys could go after the tag team titles again. Like, what's the problem with you guys going after the tag team titles? But yeah, Saquon Sugars does not look happy here. Does not look happy. He's not happy. And things are going to implode eventually. We then get Callie Armstrong. She apparently is making making her debut. Well, not necessarily her debut, but I guess her first official match on NXT, because the last match I think she had was, I can't remember who it was against, but it was against Carmen Petrovic, but it got thrown out because of interference from Blake from Jordan Grace at the time. But yeah, it is what it is. This was a 4-minute match or so against Skylar Ray, who was the winner of LFG Season 2. Haven't seen her as of late, but I'm glad to see her on television. And obviously, Callie Armstrong won in a pretty dominant match. After this, we got a Chronicle, NXT Chronicle, which is the video package for Kendall Gray. This was some great stuff. Obviously, she was just talking about the when she got her NXT, her WWE tryouts, her time on Evolve, winning the Iron Survivor match last year on NXT Deadline, going Stand and Deliver. Just basically what I would have expected her to talk about, and it was great, really great stuff. We then get Tatum Paxley backstage in a segment with Robert Stone. Obviously, he's been looking for her and obviously wants to know what stipulation she has chosen for this rematch with Blake Monroe. Blake Tatum then tells Robert Stone that she's going to do what she should have done when Blake first attacked her and first started going after her for the title, and she's going to send her to hell. Then Shiloh comes in wielding a casket. Apparently, this is what he's been working on all night. Been working on building a casket. And so it's obvious what she wants is a casket match. And so that's what it's going to be. NXT Revenge Night 2 will be a casket match between Blake Monroe and Tatum Paxley for the Women's North American Championships. And I do feel like Tatum Paxley should retain here. Blake Monroe can go up to the main roster, SmackDown, Raw. Who cares? I just want to see her on the main roster. We then get EK Prosper, obviously known as Eli Knight, but I guess they decided to give him a name change, versus Dorian Van Dukes. This is a speed tournament match. Dorian Van Dukes, I don't know who he is, but apparently he's been on Evolve. And I haven't been watching it as of late, but I've been keeping an eye on it because the guy from the D'Angelo family, Luca Crusifino, has got himself a new gimmick, and I actually think it might be pretty cool. And so he's been on Evolve, and he's now on Evolve, so I might have to start watching Evolve for him. But yeah, Dorian Van Dukes has been in Evolve. This was obviously speed match, went about 2 minutes. Nothing special to talk about, but Dorian Van Dukes did pretty darn good in this match. But Eli Knight, aka EK Prosper, got the win. Congratulations to him. We also got a video promo message from Zarya to Soruka ahead of their last woman standing match. Again, nothing special, nothing that we haven't heard from Zarya. But it was, again, great stuff. Great stuff as always. Then we go to the main event. We get to the main event, and it is Lola Vice versus JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship. Lola Vice versus JC Jane for NXT Women's Championship. Obviously, Fatal Influence is out there at ringside. Why wouldn't they be? This was a rematch, obviously, from No Mercy in September of last year. And obviously from Stand and Deliver, although Kendall Gray was involved in that match too. But this was a really, really good match. Lasted 13 minutes, about 13 minutes. Obviously, the Fatal Influence members at ringside, Fallon and Laney, they got involved. It was not enough though, because Lola Vice would retain. Congratulations to her. I officially knew she was going to retain, and I thought JC Jane and the Fatal Influence can now go up to the main roster, do what they want to do. After this match, though, we got Callie Armstrong just bulldozing through Fatal Influence and standing on the ring apron, staring at the device in the championship. We then get at least we then get at least 3 or 4 other women looking around various areas of the NXT universe, including Izzy Dane. Can't remember who else was there, and then we get Zarya, who apparently wanted to take a look at the NXT Women's Championship, but then so Ruka comes out and just, out of nowhere and just starts attacking Zarya. So they'll have their last woman standing match this upcoming Tuesday, which should be a great match. Not gonna lie, it should be a great match. But that is it. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoy this. Until next time and until next week, I will see you guys later. And yeah, peace out, y'all. And we're